Today on Queensland Weekender, come with us as we discover Queensland by rail.
The romance of rail travel is alive and well. Hello again, welcome to Queensland Weekender for another Saturday. It's fantastic to have your company. Did you know that Queensland boasts the largest network of long distance and tourist trains in the country? 750,000 people hopped on board one of these trains last year. Now that's not the most interesting part. You can also reach just about every corner of the state using a train, be it the outback or the tropics. Now, the mind boggles with all of those statistics, I know, but it really is an easy way to travel and a very affordable way to travel. So all aboard, we're about to discover Queensland by rail.
There are 9 trains in Queensland Rail Travel's fleet. Everything from the state-of-the-art Spirit of Queensland to the old-fashioned and very charming Savannah-lander. The trains come in all shapes and sizes, and best of all, they cater for every kind of traveller. For someone like me who likes a little bit of luxury, there is one train that is very dear to my heart. It's called the Spirit of the Outback. It's a 24-hour journey from Brisbane to the capital of the Queensland bush, Longreach. And what a journey it is. Your holiday starts once you hop on board, and let me tell you, Queensland Rail Travel has created a truly unforgettable experience. The Spirit of the Outback has you in the bush before you even get there. It's beautifully themed.
Have a look at the theming that they've done in here. Bowen Downs Station, the Wellshot Station. Bowen Downs, incidentally, was the first big lease that was ever taken out around Longreach. And in fact, Harry Redford, otherwise known as Captain Starlight, the famous cattle duffer, stole 1,200 head of cattle from Bowen Downs Station back in the 1800s and drove them all the way to Adelaide. That beef was superb. I'm sure that this Black Angus rib fillet is going to taste just as good.
All meals are included when you travel first class on the Spirit of the Outback. It's competitively priced, and as far as I'm concerned, it's the only way to go.
One of the biggest changes that you'll find on the Spirit of the Outback these days are your sleeping quarters. Gone are the old bunk beds. These days, it's a bit more like flying business class. This pulls out into a single bed, and there's a mirrored one right there. One thing that hasn't changed, though, are some of the little niceties along the way that Queensland Rail provide, like this comfort pack. Now, it's time for me to slip into my pyjamas, so if you don't mind.
After a great night's sleep, we're only halfway to Longreach. But not to worry, there's plenty to do. Breakfast, lunch, breathtaking outback vistas to admire, which affords the opportunity to meet fellow travellers, like Mike Hannon, who's loving his first overnight train journey.
What about the view? Superb, hey?
Unbelievable. The Australian outback is, no one from overseas would believe it unless they came here to see it. Pictures don't do it justice, and it changes all the time.
Yeah.
We just love it.
It's a beautifully slow journey and a great opportunity to read a book or...
And it gives you an appreciation of the vastness of Australia.
Yeah.
You just enjoy being part of an adventure.
Yeah.
You also get a bit of a camaraderie with the other passengers on the train.
Yeah.
And you have the feeling of, well, we're doing something you wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
So easy to get into a plane and get in that little silver tube and arrive at a destination in a crowded, horrible, unnatural mode of transport. Here, it's almost like the romance of travel's come back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Welcome to Longreach, a town that's got so much to offer, you might not know where to begin.
Here's a tip. You can start your trip at the Stockman's Hall of Fame. There's no doubt about it, the Stockman's Hall of Fame tells the tales of the outback bush legends, the stuff that Queensland and the rest of the outback was built on.
The Hall of Fame's latest show runs for about an hour and is sure to entertain the whole family. Afterwards, have fun exploring the huge collection in the museum itself.
There's no doubt that Longreach is proud of the fact that it is Queensland's outback capital, but it's equally proud of the fact that it's considered to be the birthplace of Australia's national airline, Qantas. There aren't too many towns that I know of that can boast two world-class museums across the road from each other.
The Qantas Founders Museum is a must-see for visitors. And if you've been there before, there are some new additions, like their state-of-the-art flight simulators. Just $25 for 30 minutes and awesome fun. Longreach is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the bush. The town of Winton is a short drive away, or an easy rail coach connection when you travel aboard the Spirit of the Outback. There you can enjoy its Outback Festival, which will be on again in September this year. There's also the Australian Age of Dinosaurs and the world-famous La Quarry, where you can see evidence of a dinosaur stampede. And the Spirit of the Outback isn't the only train doing all the heavy lifting west. The Westlander departs Brisbane and follows in the footsteps of our pioneering explorers over the Great Dividing Range and out to Charleville in the heart of Mulga and Channel Country. And the Inlander departs Townsville for Mount Isa and travels through fossil country and towns like Hughenden and Julia Creek.
Well, we've shown you some of the big boys that haul tourists to the outback, but Queensland Rail has a quirky collection of smaller trains that offer some really unique experiences. And we'll show you some of those after the break. Welcome back to Queensland Weekender, where today we're discovering Queensland by rail. You know, we're spoiled for choice when it comes to trains in this magnificent state of ours. From the latest and greatest with all the gadgets and gizmos to some wonderful nostalgic services too. A while back, Bridget and I jumped aboard the Savannah-lander and took it for a spin. What a magnificent time we had.
Forsyth is one of the few remaining towns that still exist on the Etheridge goldfields. She's also the end of the line for this little beauty, the Silver Bullet, a very special train journey from a bygone era. The Savannah-lander from Cairns to Forsyth is an important part of local communities' livelihood, with the line maintained by Queensland Rail and the rolling stock privately owned. Back in its day, it was the largest privately owned railway line in the country, running 312 miles or just under 500 kilometres.
They started construction of this line in 1906 and went through to 1910 and they got out to Forsyth. Now the main purpose of it wasn't so much gold, but it was copper.
It's amazing through particularly harsh terrain, isn't it? And of course, you know, seasonally it would be very difficult to operate and maintain this line, wouldn't it?
Well, we can't get out here during the wet season. Yeah. A lot of the bridges go underwater. Yeah. And also when you think back in the old days when they actually built this, all they had was pick and shovels.
It's a 229-kilometre trip on board the Savannah-lander, and there are plenty of interesting stops along the way as you make your way into the heart of Queensland's Gulf country. And believe it or not too far away is another classic train. It's the Gulflander, and it departs from the town of Normanton. Recently, our good mate Roger Vickery headed north to check it out.
Why a rail link from Croydon to Normanton? What was the need?
Yeah, well, the need for that was there was a gold discovery in Croydon in 1885. There was a gold rush. People were very excited at the time because it was relatively late in the history of gold rushes.
Well, the first train would have been steam?
Yeah, the first train was steam, yeah. A little British locomotive, tiny little thing.
And this little beauty, when did it come along, the Gulflander?
The Gulflander itself, as it stands now, it's been here for the rail motor at the front, which is the power car.
Yep.
It's been here for 32 years, which is half its life. It's 64 years old.
And Ken, are they hard to drive?
Oh yeah, there's a few challenges involved in driving them. It's just like driving an old truck, you know, a big old truck.
What, with gears?
With gears, yeah.
So this has got like first, second and...
Yeah, it's got four gears, 4 on the floor.
Yeah, and reverse?
It's got 4 forwards and 4 reverse gears.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
RM93 runs on a 6-cylinder Gardner Marine diesel engine out of a yacht. 80 years old, and it starts first go.
Rightio, so it's in neutral, main switch, fuel.
Beautiful. I might have to get one for my tractor.
Yeah, why not?
It's known as the journey from nowhere to nowhere, but the Golflander still runs a regular mail service and a couple of different excursions each week that train buffs go mad for. It's in high demand in the tourist season, so it's best to book ahead.
Now there's one more North Queensland train that we have to mention, and that's the beautiful Queensland Scenic Railway. It departs Cairns and it takes travellers on an incredible journey into the rainforest, past Barren Falls and onto the lovely mountain village of Queensland. You can even go gold class, which is quite the experience. Guests going gold class get dedicated host service, cosy individual seating and lounge chairs, a gift pack and an exclusive tour of the heritage-listed signal cabin at Queensland Station. It's a journey steeped in history and natural beauty, and an experience that I would highly recommend. It's unforgettable. Now don't go anywhere. When we come back, Andrew heads off on a gourmet getaway.
If you've ever wanted a gourmet experience tossed together with natural wonders, this is the place to be.
Welcome back to Queensland Weekender. Look, it's no secret that our good mate Andrew Mirosh loves a fine dining experience. Each year, he and a bunch of rail-loving foodies hop aboard the Tilt train for the Hervey Bay Seafood Festival and some extraordinary culinary delights along the way. Let's see what I'm talking about.
It's a well-known fact, I love food and I've made it my life's work. And for a world-class gourmet experience, the Fraser Coast is pretty hard to beat. And then add in the world-class scenery experiences and you get a recipe that's almost too good to be true. I've found the perfect way to enjoy both the culinary and natural wonders of the region on board Queensland Rail Travel's Fraser Coast Gourmet Getaway. Guests are whisked away courtesy of the Tilt train for an adventure in some of Queensland's most stunning locales, including World Heritage listed Fraser Island. And you don't have to wait long to sample some great food when you're on the train. So the prawns, where are the prawns from?
Prawns we source out of Townsville.
Yep.
So we bring those down. We've
Some of the best prawns in Australia.
Yeah, most definitely.
Luke Finter is proud that all the food served on the journey is sourced no more than 100 kilometres from the track.
Beef from Rockhampton, Townsville seafood. We also source a lot of our fruit and veg from Bundaberg as well.
Yep.
So we're really conscious of trying to support Queensland businesses.
And I've got to say, as well as the food, travelling on the train has other perks. That's one thing about train travel, you get to see the countryside you wouldn't necessarily see driving, or you wouldn't see driving.
Most definitely, and even if you want to compare it to flying as well. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer, but you can take in the scenery as you go as well.
The trip to Maryborough West Station from Brisbane takes about 4 hours, and there you'll be met by a limousine transfer to drive you to nearby riverheads. And the final leg of our journey, it's on board the ferry that goes to Fraser Island. It's a 15-minute trip, and I'll tell you, if you've ever wanted a gourmet experience tossed together with natural wonders, this is the place to be. You'll spot Kingfisher Bay Resort as you approach the island. It blends in beautifully with the environment, nestled amongst the island's tree-covered dunes.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Bush Tucker Talk and Taste here at Kingfisher Bay Resort.
Kingfisher's Bush Tucker Talk and Taste is a great way to start off a culinary adventure on the Fraser Coast. Tonight we're being taught about native plants and flowers, buds and berries. It's knowledge that's been shared by the Butchella people who've called Fraser Island home for thousands of years.
This is lemon aspen, so rainforest fruit, and this is a desert plant, desert peach or red quandong. So two quite different flavours.
With the help of head chef Lee, we're learning how to incorporate native foods into any dish. It's a delicious selection, Hervey Bay scallops and prawns, as well as bunya nuts, quandongs, rosellas, and one of my favourites, the macadamia nut.
I've learned so much, but you must get some really good reactions from people who have never tried food like this.
The reaction we get is the surprise. Everyone, or a lot of people have these growing in their own backyard or in the local park or in a rainforest walk they do. And until we teach them about it, they don't actually understand how much you can actually eat.
Much of the knowledge that's been gained about bush foods is applied at the fantastic Seabell restaurant, just one of 3 restaurants at the resort. These are the sort of dishes that have made the Seabell restaurant an award-winning restaurant. They blend classic French cooking like slow-braised pork belly with Australian native foods. And one of my favourite things of all time, Harvey Bay scallops harvested right here in the bay, not too far away. I can't wait to try it.
Whilst on Fraser Island, travellers should take up the opportunity to explore Fraser's best bits on the full-day Beauty Spots tour. Stops include Lake Mackenzie and the stunning Wangoolba Creek. And then, once you're back at Kingfisher, you'll be wowed with a culinary experience like no other. The Flames of Fraser, an unforgettable 4-hour fireside dining experience. The menu boasts barramundi, Moreton Bay bugs and lemon myrtle soup, crocodile, sanshoy bao, and even wattle seed ice cream.
Queensland produce at its best. Locally harvested herbs and spices on Fraser Island and some fish produced just up the road. Doesn't get any better.
After the break, we're going to show you the future of rail travel. It's fast, it's cool, and most importantly, it's comfy. See you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is here, and it looks like this. Say good day to the Spirit of Queensland, which replaced the Sunlander in 2013 and has been wowing people ever since, like my good mate Chris Handy, who's not easily bowled over.
The Spirit of Queensland runs between Brisbane and Cairns. I've picked up the service in the southeast, and over the next 25 hours, we'll snake our way right up the Queensland coastline in style.
You could be forgiven for thinking that I'm in business class on a commercial airliner, but the view outside my window is just a little bit more interesting. These seats I'm in are an Australian first, unique to the Spirit of Queensland, available on no other train in Australia.
Train travel mightn't be the fastest way to get to a destination, but what it lacks in speed, it definitely makes up for in comfort. There's legroom aplenty, and a change of seat configuration is only a button press away. Each seat is complete with USB and 240-volt power, as well as a personal 50-centimetre television. You could travel the route many times over without having to watch the same movie or TV show twice. But if you think that's special, wait until you see what happens after dark.
This is revolutionary.
It's a great product, yeah, we're really happy with it.
Is it a seat or is it a bed? I can't see where the bed comes from yet.
It's a bit of both. So it is a bit different to other concepts that have been around the airlines for a while, as far as turning a seat into a bed. So as you see now, instead of it reclining into full positions, to save us room in the back, we actually pull forward to a full flat bed.
Look at that.
So instead of having grooves and everything through your back, you've got a nice flat surface for you to sleep on.
Yeah.
Full latex mattress.
Every evening, train staff help passengers transform their seats into beds, complete with a real doona, 2 pillows, 1 fluffy and 1 firm, if you were wondering, and a toiletries pack. All that's left to do is to tuck her down. Don't mind if I do.
Morning, how are you?
In Queensland, spot the fellow who had a good night's sleep.
That's good, yeah.
Yep, it's about time to explore the rest of what the Spirit of Queensland has to offer. The rail bed carriages aren't the only special parts of this train. Premium economy enjoys comfy leather seats and on-demand entertainment systems. A club car is at the disposal of all passengers. It's a great place to grab a coffee and swap travel tales with fellow passengers.
To go up to where we're going, and
where you heading?
enjoyed it.
Youngaborough. You mentioned.
Yeah, Youngaborough. We're going to Cairns for one night, and then Youngaborough, hire a car and going up to Youngaborough.
Bev and Gary Shaw hail from Curramundi and are adding a trip aboard the Spirit of Queensland to their list of travel experiences.
What other trains you've been on?
No, we've been on the Sunlander, we've been on the Tilt train, we've been on the Gain, and
Been Spirit of the Outback?
And we've been on a few of them. Yeah, we enjoy it thoroughly, but this is far the best one that we.
back in the railbed carriage and it's lunchtime. Passengers select from an onboard menu and all meals are served direct to your seat. It's a far cry from the train journeys of old.